Warning: this podcast may contain explicit content. Parental approval advised. Hello, welcome to another episode of Speed Limit Podcast. And our special guest today is really nice enough to create a character in our server. And he is the host of Countdown to Classic podcast. His name is Josh. And he has a new podcast called the Josh Corbett Podcast. So I'm always gonna introduce the last part of this introduction, the characters instead of the players. So let me introduce you to a level 1 Warlock, Australia.
It says, you give a poor man a fish and you feed him for a day. You teach him to fish. You give him
Hi, sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
How's things?
Good. How are you, man?
Good, man.
So what time is it there? Is it like 12 o'clock?
Yeah, it's midday.
Midday? Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so it's nice, like perfect time.
Yes. I think the last time I talked to somebody that's kind of far, he lives in Canada. Forgot where it is. It's some east side of the Canada.
But are you on the east coast of America?
I'm actually Midwest.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of close, I guess. I think the closest as you can get from Canada is Minnesota, I think.
Mm.
I'm not geographically inclined, so I'd have to look at the map to pinpoint where my actual location is in the other states around me.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Especially when it comes in game too. It kind of it's kind of exact thing I'm in the game when I'm thinking I'm where I'm at. I'm not very good at locating where I'm at. I'd have to look at the map. I mean, if it's, you know, if it's like a known place like Orgrimmar, then Durotar, you know. Speaking of that, are you a Horde or are you Alliance on your server?
Yeah, I'm Horde. So I was Alliance back in Vanilla, but I'm Horde for Classic.
Oh, the same thing with me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How are you liking it?
It's good. I've had experience with Horde before because after a few expansion, later we decided as real life friends decided to create a Horde character, which is kind of new to us in the beginning, and we enjoyed the hell out of it, and I've been Horde ever since.
Nice. Yeah, I'm liking it too. It's really good fun, refreshing change.
Mm-hmm. What server did you play back in Vanilla?
So I'm playing on Vanilla.
Yes.
I played on... Oh my god, why am I blanking on the name of it? Darth Ramar. That's the one.
Okay. Oh man, I'm still hoping that someone would say Argent Dawn because that's where my server was. I played Alliance Argent Dawn. It's a full PV. It's a full RP server, and it's one of those things where I've learned a little bit from it. There's a lot of not sensitive people, but people who like to take the game more seriously in terms of naming your character. That's one of the thing there that people are anal about. If you name your character something that they don't like, you might get reported and having to rename your character. And it happened a lot. I mean, back then people didn't know any better, and they still don't. You know, same in Classic, people still renaming their character like some crazy names, you know, like controversial, and something has something that has anything to do with like sex and stuff. So that you still see those.
It comes up a lot, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I actually, one of my character in my server, actually I had I had a character named Pew Pew America, and I got reported once, and I ignored it and renamed. They had me change my name, and I thought it wasn't gonna work. It was just a habit of me retyping my name, just to kind of test it. I know it was gonna fail, but I typed it anyway. I renamed it Pew Pew America again, but it accepted it. So I had no way of changing it. I'm like, oh, okay, it didn't blacklist it, so it must be okay, right? So I've been playing and playing for maybe like 2 weeks, and then I was in Stranglethorn, I think, and then I got disconnected. It says that I got temporarily banned for 24 hours because of that. People were reporting my name.
They didn't like it, yeah.
No. So, what server are you on right now?
So now I started out on Aragal, which is the Oceanic server, but I've kind of stopped playing there, and I've moved over to, we were on, God, what's the server that got really popular?
Herod?
Blanking to me, but no, not Herod, but we were on Earth Fury now, and Incendius, that's the one. So we were on Incendius, and with all the transfers that happened a while ago, we were one of the last few guilds to make the transfer over when we saw that everything was kind of falling apart. So now we're on Earth Fury.
I see. And how do you like in your server so far?
I like it. It's hard to say with Earth Fury because it's still we've only been there for about a month or so, and it was obviously a it was a medium pop server. It was a fine functioning server before we got there, and understandably, I think people who have been there since day one have been rubbed the wrong way by the fact that so many people transferred over. And I get it, we're part of the problem and everything, but we kind of the guild made a decision on what was best for the guild, and Incendius was basically dying before our eyes, so we had to jump somewhere, and Earth Fury was one of the choices that was a free transfer, so we jumped on it.
Right on. And it's probably the best. I mean, if you guys are, all of the majority of you anyway are full into that, then why not? Oh, it's the free transfer, right? It wasn't like paid.
Yeah, no, it's a free transfer, so that's why it worked out. I mean, it's hard to convince a guild, if you got like 100 people or whatever, like, hey, everyone pay your money and get on over to this new server.
Yeah, exactly. And with our server right now, Deviate of the Light, we've been kind of maybe like a little bit of scouting on other players from other server. Maybe not even scouting, maybe just promoting on the way we're like in this Deviate the Light server to come join, especially Horde side. There's been a lot of there's a lot of alliance in our side, but we always encourage like a lot of Horde players that come to join us. And even with that, I think a few weeks ago they had some more alliances that were joined in our server, because I think it has something to do with the world, the dragon bosses that just came out, and there's a lot of people fighting over that. They've been up, especially Immersis. I think he's been up for maybe like a day that nobody can even down him, because what we're trying to do is fuck with other people. If they're trying to if Alliance were trying to kill him, like it'll take at least 1 or 2 people to mess up the whole raid. I think that's what they're trying to do. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's not like a full raid versus full raid. I think they found some type of thing where they can fuck with the whole raid by just 1 or 2 person. I don't exactly know how it works. So the alliance, one of the alliance from other server decided to transfer, and they had this statement where you can't mess with us, you can't fuck with us. We're gonna kill every world boss in in your server, but they still had issues, and they thought that they'd be the one who, on top of everything, but it's still the horde, like our horde side of the players are still giving them, we're like a pain in the ass to them. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes in the next couple of months.
Yeah. Good luck with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Earth Fury, right? That's US. That's Oceanic. You said. Sorry if I'm.
No. So that's US.
US.
So I'm in Australia, but I play on a US server now.
Okay. Full PvP.
Yeah,
server.
PvP. I didn't PvP in vanilla, and I've done it since day one on Classic, and I love it. It's different for me. I'm not really a PvP inclined player. I'm not very good at it. I'm actually pretty shit at it.
Mm-hmm.
I have some issues with like some of the ways it happens at times, but you can't, if you roll on a PvP server, you don't cry about PvP. So it's taken some getting used to, but it's been more enjoyable on the whole. Like I think the fun outweighs the frustration at the end of the day.
Sure. And what do you like more about it than having to deal with PvE sometimes? Like,
I just find PvE is, looking back on it, it's kind of boring to me when you're out in the world and you just constantly feel safe. You literally you see another member of the faction walk by and you don't give a fuck. Like it seems to defeat the purpose, and it takes out the immersion a little bit, where I want that war. I want, like, if I see a member of the opposite faction, I want to be on my toes, or I want to be constantly looking around going, oh fuck, is someone going to come and get me? Like,
yeah,
it just makes it a bit more interesting.
Yeah. And you have this notion, like you said, this notion of feeling of connected with other players when it comes to, especially against players, not just doing a group together and killing a boss. You have this full connected where play, like, it's kind of like playing like other multiplayer game out there. You know exactly that person is playing another character, and they're not AI, they're not robot, they're not bots. They can fuck you up as much as you can fuck them up, and in return, you have this this fight where you actually have to think about it, and the person that you're fighting against have to actually think about it too in terms of PvPing. And especially with in vanilla, in this classic that we have, where only paladins are alliance and shamans are horde. If you come across paladin, I mean, I don't know how much you know about paladin, because, like you said, you were alliance, right? So you probably know a little bit, right?
I mean, a tiny bit, only because Paladin's actually the one class I've never played.
Okay, so in your situation, then, if you're a horde, you come across a Paladin, it's like, okay, what does he have? You've seen videos, stuns, bubble, and that's it. Maybe like freedom of what the hell is that thing called? It's like something freedom.
Blessing of freedom.
Yeah. When they're immune to slow and stuff like that. So okay, that's all the things that you know, but the other things that they can do, it's like you don't know about. Should you stay away from them? Should you get close to them if they're melee? And just stuff like that. The same thing with shamans. If you're an alliance, you saw a shaman, it's like, okay, what do I know? Unless you do like a massive research on each characters in classes, then that's a one thing. But if your experience is just playing with the class that you know in your faction, then that's another whole level of kind of understanding your opposite enemies.
Yeah, for sure. It's been interesting going up against paladins when I didn't have to worry about it in the first place anyway, because like I said, I was on a PvE server, but it's been fun seeing it from the other side of the coin. I mean, I personally, I don't know, I like going up against paladins. I think I haven't had that much trouble with them, but I do enjoy the challenge as well.
What is your main class right now?
My main right now is a hunter, but I've got two characters. So first I leveled a priest, and I really, really love priest. But that character was leveled on the Aussie servers, and I haven't actually transferred it over. So I started a new tune because I wanted to play on North American servers with my North American friends. Mm-hmm. And so I just rolled a new tune and went with hunter because I wanted to get to 60 as quickly as possible. And I did that. I mean, I'm a pretty slow leveler, and I've got a full-time job and everything, so I can't get to play too much. But I started this character about 3 months ago, and now I'm 55, so hoping to be 60 by next week, and I'm happy with that.
Mm-hmm. That's cool, man. Yeah, same thing for me. I can't play a lot. I wanted to level my hunter. I'm level 30 right now on my hunter, and I wanted to level him up to just to do ZG and kind of have fun raiding in that guy and getting the leaf and trying out, because my first class in vanilla was a hunter night elf, and when I got that leaf, it just resembles so much on what I'm trying to accomplish in the game. And when I beat it all by myself, and I just kind of freaked out, and that's probably the most memorable thing that I've ever done in World of Warcraft. Just getting that leaf, and I had even when I saw that leaf, I didn't know what it was. It was in that chest. I rolled it, and then reading upon it, I'm like, no way, I can get 2 weapons out of this. But after that, worked at least maybe 2 months on it, getting all the stuff that I need, and trying to wait on the spawns. And after beating it, it was just like a total relief. And also, yeah, you have a priest, and that's pretty good. I've seen PvP videos on priest. I don't know if that's the only focus you're gonna do. Is it only PvP, like getting your ranks up and getting the Grand Marshal? The Grand Marshal, High Warlock?
I've barely PvP'd so far in Classic. I've only done as weird as it is to say, I would say I've done like less than 20 battlegrounds so far. But I want to start doing it more. So like I said, I got this priest to 60, and then kind of shifted focus straight away to this other server almost as soon as I dinged 60. So I've been like leveling the whole time Classic has been out, as opposed to getting into raids or getting into battlegrounds or anything like that. So I want to kind of settle down a little bit and just focus on this hunter and start to have a bit of fun.
Mm-hmm. Cool, man. Sounds like a good plan. What's the queue times like in your server?
Well, the queues went away when they reintroduced layering a few weeks ago, but I think so obviously, a lot of servers were getting like 6-hour queues, and everyone's staying at home during COVID playing World of Warcraft, which is understandable, and they introduced the layers to kind of try and alleviate the frustration and issues with sitting in a queue all night, which I totally understand. Mm-hmm. But then since they removed the layers, we've been pretty good. I think a few people have seen like 20-minute queues over the last few days, but nothing too bad.
Oh, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't seen one myself, to be honest with you.
That's the busy days in our server, especially because I go into my rogue. That's my my speed limit podcasting. He's level 48, and I wanted to twink him, but I'm kind of thinking about maybe I don't know, because I don't see myself raiding on my rogue, because I think I'm just gonna use this to chat with people, and just have fun and walking around, running around the Azeroth and meeting with players and chatting with them. And when I was thinking, maybe if I twink this guy, maybe I'll just PvP on my time with this guy while talking to other people, But
sure.
When it comes to the queue times, I found that my level level 40s and higher is like maybe 30 minutes is the minimum, which isn't bad. When the busy times is probably like maybe it could go to 20 minutes to 15 minutes when it's pretty good. I think it like depending on the day or the night. But going back to level 60, I also have another level 60 shaman, Resto, with the Altaric Valley, reputation thing. They haven't got into grinding. At least it could take an hour and a half for that. But the AB, Arathi Basin, and Warsong, it could take maybe 20-30 minutes also, sometimes 40. Like I said, depending on the time. But I notice there's a lot more players that are playing 20s. I think 20s, because the queue times on those, as far as I can remember, it's only like 15 minutes, 10 minutes, even like 3 minutes is the fastest. So there's a lot. Right. So there's a lot of people that are playing like level 20s, especially 29s on their Twinking. I think that's what it is when it comes to the PvP side in our it's a multi-joined battle group. So I think what it is, but I'm not sure if there's a separation from any battle groups, or does it pick any random server to join each PvP queue. I'm not really 100% sure on how that works. Unless you know.
No, I've got no idea. I mean, as I said, like having not done Battlegrounds much or dealt with it much, I'm not too sure. But I mean, I do remember. Yeah, I mean, part of the reason that I wasn't PvPing as much is, and I know it's part and parcel of WoW, but the thought of like sitting 30-40 minutes in a queue just to wait to get in the battleground isn't that appealing to me, particularly at times when, like, if I log on, I might only have an hour or an hour and a half to play, and I'm like, I can get one battleground in, maybe two if I'm lucky, and it's a bit of a turn off. So I've just been waiting for, happily leveling other characters and just waiting maybe for the queues to come down a little bit, and now that AB is out, it might be a bit better.
Mm-hmm. And also, back then too, when they introduced battlegrounds, battle groups, the queue times, you notice that it was so much shorter, going from from 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes to instantaneous, like almost instantly, it just pops. I
remember it being instant back in the day for sure.
Yeah, and like what made it different now, I wonder if it's something to do with just people not queuing enough. Because
I think the fact that we're playing Horde is probably what it is, because it'll be insta for Alliance, but not for us, obviously. And a lot of the Alliance players, sort of enjoy that, and they say, well, fuck you, if you're going to play the more popular faction and stack against us, then you can happily wear the pain of sitting in a PvP queue, which I understand. I understand why they kind of want that small little win. They're saying, you don't get it both ways. You don't get to be part of the more dominant faction and just insta queue and play PvP when you want. I don't know, a small part of me is like, that's not really part of it. Like me getting into a battleground when I want, it's like, what do you get out of it? Out of just enjoying my frustration? Like, it's not like you're killing me in a battleground. I don't know. I always thought it was a slightly odd thing to sort of want to get over the other faction. But yeah, I mean, the shorter queues, the better for everyone, I think.
Yes, it is. Yeah, you're right about that too. I forgot about that part. Just the Horde, PvPing a lot, or we have more Horde there's more Horde than Alliance in not every, but the majority of the server. Is it like, if you combine all of that statistically, the estimate on players, Horde versus Alliance in all the servers is it close to like 60-40, maybe even less than that?
I think a lot of servers would be around about the 60-40 range. Yeah, some are 70-30, and obviously you got the couple of examples where it's just been decimated one way or the other, and you get like a 90-10 split or even worse.
Yeah.
I think Skyrim and one other server, it's like literally almost like 99-1.
Jesus. I mean, props to those guys that are still there, the alliances. They, what the economy is like, it's probably really unbearable. Like, nobody buys stuff. This is probably like 10 players in there that are trying to negotiate on what they can do and make, and maybe they'll give up and transfer, but I don't know how to even think about that. I know for sure that if I was in a server like that, being on Alliance, I would transfer right away, or maybe like create another character somewhere if I can afford to transfer. Or
I mean, whether it's exaggeration or not, but I mean, you do hear the stories of people, walking into Ironforge and seeing like one or two other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's funny, but and sad at the same time.
Yeah,
it's nuts, man. Think about it. So this is okay. Do you want to create a character really quick and take a picture with me? I'm at the Death Knell area. You can make an undead character.
Yeah, sure, I can do that. Give me one sec. What was the server again?
Deviate Delight and US East, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool talking to you, man. It's been kind of a ride doing a podcast and all, trying to interview people.
No, it's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure. I know, like, I've always been there for people looking to get into podcasting. Like, it's not a big deal to sit down and have a chat with someone. So I've always been really encouraging of people who want to do it, because there's not enough of them out there.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Is that you?
Yeah. Sorry. Did I just?
Cool. No, it's fine. I'm
just outside the crypt.
I'm behind you. Australia. Nice. Yeah.
Oh, there you are. Okay, great.
Yep. So it's probably the coolest part in this is this area here. Hold the grave.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. That's good enough, man. Thank you for doing that.
All good. No worries. It's all good.
Yeah. So yeah, this my server is an RP server, RP PvP, where this is still a lot of people that RP in here. They would put up events, and they would put it on Discord, and they would actually make a flyer, and one of them is like, I think, hand-to-hand combat, no weapons, or Fight Club or something like that. They would call it Fight Club.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you're aware of that. It's I mean, it's a PvP. You're in a PvP server, but have you seen like any RPing in there at all? I mean, it's
no, I haven't seen any of it myself.
Okay. Because I did when we played Horde back in a few expansion after we played Alliance and Vanilla. We went into Executus realm, PvP, full PvP, completely different nature, man. The players there, I mean, you always see these type of players. No matter where you go, there are nice ones. There's assholes. There's completely unpredictable people out there. They exist everywhere. But the nature of it is completely different. It's like being a horde is completely different, let alone being in a PvP server. And that completely changed our view towards this game. Where we're in Alliance, it's all I'm not like talking down or anything like that. It's all like handy dandy and cute and stuff, right? In the Alliance side. When you go back to Horde, it's all like dead and like disoriented, and it's just this monolithic place that you can can have experience and have fun with. There's probably like a connotation to that, but I don't know how else to explain it. But it just has something that it's like it's been kind of driven me to play in the Horde side. I think it has to do with my character as a person and the music that I like. I really like metal music. It's kind of familiar with me when it comes to like the characters here, especially Undead. They're so like metal looking people, just you'd see like a goth person or like a metalhead, they exactly look like my character.
I always appreciate like the crossover between metal and WoW. I know there's so many players in my guild and people love meta into it, and
oh yeah,
they see it's just something about the crossover appeal. And I'm not into metal myself, but I've just met whether at BlizzCon or on the show, so many people who are huge metalheads, and like there's a lot about WoW that just for some weird reason, or even not that weird, just is cross pollination of crowds there. So I get it. I talked about metal music on the show once, and the guys were like, well, think about it. You've got, a lot of lyrics in metal songs are about like fantasy and sort of weird mythical elements like that. And it's kind of cool. So
yeah, that's insane. Especially when it comes to, they have this genre called Celtic metal, and talk about like how like Norse metal and all this old gods, they would sing about that and stuff like that, and kind of resembles the the whole storyline pretty much of World of Warcraft. Like even some of the lores are based, maybe some of them are kind of based off of that, because I don't know if how they created those music videos, the I Am a Warlock, the song, it has that metal tone into it, rock metal, however you call it, but it's more like a heavy rock than anything else. And they had most of their couple of their songs really have been kind of based in metal pretty much. I don't know if it has something to do with the orcs, because I don't know who that guy was, the guy who voiced Hellscream. Do you know?
I'm not sure who. No, I'll double check.
Or maybe it's not Hellscream.
Chris Metzen.
Thrall, maybe Thrall.
Oh, Thrall is Chris Metzen.
Yep, that guy. Yeah, and I think that guy is really. He looks like he would listen to metal, man, because the way he would
absolutely.
talk.
He's got yeah.
He's got the voice. He's got the attitude, and I think some of that stuff kind of, it came from him. I'm not sure if it was his idea, but maybe it was just a coincidence. Maybe it was his idea, but I won't be surprised if it was.
I would say, yeah, there was a bit of influence there for sure. And I've no doubt like a lot of the staff are into it as well.
So right now you're just leveling an alt, and do you raid at all?
I want to raid, so I'm not much of a raider historically, but it's something that I really want to try and get into now. So my guild has 2 raid teams going, and I'm hoping that I can get a spot in one of them. I mean, I know they're raiding tonight, and they've got I think they got 37 out of 40 in the raid tonight. But yeah, hopefully at some stage I can just get in there with them. And I've sort of told them already. I know I'm late to the party, and I don't even know how I feel about this character yet. Like I enjoy Hunter, but I'm not sure if I'm married to it yet. I might fall in love with this character, and this becomes the character I play for the rest of Classic. And if we get Burning Crusade, I'll keep playing this character. I don't know, but I will. Like I said, I've got a priest, I've got this hunter. I'm already starting work on a druid as well, because I want to have a druid ready for Burning Crusade. So I'll have 3 options, and I've got to pick one that I really sort of focus on. So for the moment, I'll be raiding with this hunter. but I've sort of told the guild, look, don't necessarily make me that much of a priority. Well, other way around. I don't want any kind of like, I should be the last priority for loot, because I was like, I don't want people who, if I abandon this character and I get loot over other people, you feel like shit. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of want like, to be the last person that gets things, because I'm also like, I'm not a loot whore. I mean, you want loot because that's why you play the game, to upgrade your character, but also like, I don't need it like other people need it for that hit of endorphins of like, oh yeah, I'm getting stronger. Fuck yeah, look at like my EP and all that shit. Like, I just don't fucking give a shit. Yeah. All I want is to be able to somewhat hold my own in a battleground, and that's all I ask. I don't need to dominate. I just want to be like, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do like that that mentality where if you started thinking about the loot and you don't get a loot, and then you get upset and quit, and that's where everything comes from the history alone, from the experience alone. There's a lot of people that did that back in the day, even now.
It still happens now, absolutely.
Yeah. I really do like that mentality, though. Whenever I'm raiding on my shaman, I want stuff, but if I think we are using Loot Council for our loot system.
Yeah, so are we.
Yeah, and I think it's perfect for that, because if you didn't get the loot, that means that there's at least 4 or 5 people that are dealing with that kind of stuff on who they would give the item to. It's not like it was just rolled, it was just given to this guy. There's a trustful relationship going on in between the players. Think about it as a whole group trying to decide what needs to be done. And it it seems like it's easier, but hell, I don't think I'd be in a council, in a loot council. I don't think I would be part of the council, and I think that's a hard. I think it's one of the hardest job. I think it's just a game, but it's still you have to think about where
it's a completely hard, like it's a tough, thankless job being a loot council member. I don't doubt, and like if anyone's listening and sort of going like, oh fuck this, these guys are wrong, loot council sucks. Like I completely understand where you're coming from, because it is not for everyone. It's just not. And the biggest thing that everyone says about loot council is 100% true. If you don't trust the loot council, it's going to be shit. You are going to get corrupt people who do shit things. You are going to get people who just give things to their friends and don't give a fuck about everyone else, don't give a fuck about what kind of effort you've put in or what preparation you've put into the raid. I'm convinced that loot council probably doesn't work for, I don't know, some outrageous figure I'll give you, like 90% of guilds in WoW should not be running a loot council, because I probably wouldn't trust 90% of people. I don't know. It's just hard to find really, really genuinely nice, honest people who just want to distribute things evenly and don't really give a fuck. Now, I mean, it might be higher than that 90% figure, I don't know, but or lower, I should say. But, I've been really lucky in that the people running our guilds do just an amazing job, and I'm in voice chat with these guys and girls every week. And, you can hear that they're not fuckwits. You can hear that they're not bad people. And so we trust them, and they've done an amazing job. Like, I think the vast majority of our guild would say, like, they're killing it in terms of loot distribution. They're doing really well. And the gripes that we've had have been really minor. I think we haven't had, like, a blow up. Like, oh, my God, I can't believe you gave that to that person. That's pretty much it. It's all just going well. The only thing which some people might tease us about, which I would understand, but like our GM, who I love, he's a rogue, and he's going to be one of the people that we still haven't got one yet, but he wants a Thunder Fury, so he has one binding, and one of our tanks has another binding. And to be honest with you, for the effort that he puts into running the guild and for what it takes to run this guild and how well he does it, it's a small price to pay, even though I know obviously having a tank with your Thunder Fury is such a game changer for a guild. But I mean, I view it as like almost just like a small payment for like saying thank you for doing such a good job for running a great guild. Fuck it, take a Thunder Fury as a rogue.
Right, that's a very good point. When it comes to the trusting people with this kind of loot council, luckily I've been in my guild since after maybe a couple of months after maybe even like a month after I turned 60. I've been with them forever. At least I've been with them for at least 7, maybe 6 months, and it's been a blast. And the people who are doing we went from a free role to loot council because we had 2 raiding teams. The main raiding teams did loot council, and the second team we just rolled, right? And a few months later, we decided to do loot council, and everybody was on board on that because where they really liked loot council on the first team, and other people from the first team have alt characters where they join our second raid team, and upon changing our loot councils, it's been a positive experience, especially when it comes to distributing loot, and because we trust those people who are doing it, and it's not like if somebody comes in as a new player, we get to pick that person right away. And we also have this rules where we add one random member in the loot council, and we roll off of that in the beginning of the raid, and we choose that person to be in the council.
Yeah, I think our loot council changes people as well, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and so after doing that, I've been here in this team, in this guild, for quite a while, and we had some issues, just in the guild issues. Just one person, our guild master, he became distraught and something happened, so we left and created our own guild. But more like all of our members except our guild leader isn't here anymore. He changed servers, so we renamed our guild, but it was still the same people, and we had the same system, we had the same everything. And part of the reason why we left, because our guild master was just hoarding everything. He was the raid leader, he was the bank, he was he did everything.
Right.
And if you do that, you have other people out there don't have any control. Like, you're supposed to have assistance to the bank or to other things. You're supposed to have people help you out, not just one person. I think he was burning up. I think he was burning out and was kind of stressed all the time due to the stuff that he did as a guild master. And now we distributed that for all the members that wanting to do other things than being a quote-unquote class officer that really didn't do much, because they had to go through a lot of stuff through our GM before they can even implement it. Even like little things. And now everybody's happy with what we have, especially with the control of the bank, where we can use a lot of materials from other players to distribute when it comes to raiding, because we want our raid members to have the stuff they need when we jump into BWL or even like ZG, or just trying to gear up our players. And now we're trying to work on our Silithus quest and spawning bosses, and working on natural resistance for the incoming AQ. So it seems like it's a promising team that we have. So I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
Oh, good, man. Good. It's that's the most important thing at the end of the day is, are you having fun with WoW Classic? And here we are, 9-10 months into it, and if you're still having fun, then it's the game for you.
Yeah, Yeah, I have never played any other games yet. After this came out, and it's with this podcasting that I'm doing, it's gonna keep me more entertained, and a lot of people are kind of relying on us now. When it's the next episode, did you post anything up, and how do you often upload? I'm like, well, I kind of do what I want, because I have no one to tell me when to upload it or when to do a scheduling. I just whenever I feel like it, and luckily I've been kind of keeping up on it.
It's a good way to be. Trust me, a part of me wishes. I mean, you've always got the freedom to do that. I didn't do that with my show. Mm-hmm. I was sort of like, it must come out on this day every week, and I pushed myself. But I burnt out as well, because it's tough to keep to a schedule, and it's nice to have the luxury of being like, I'll do one when I feel like it.
Mm-hmm. You don't do that at all? You have an actual scheduled date to release, or?
When I was doing Countdown to Classic, I had a scheduled day. Like I told people this show will come out every Wednesday or whatever. Mm-hmm. And the show fucking came out every Wednesday. And I think there are pros and cons both ways, because if you are a scheduled program, you do win a lot of brownie points with the listeners, and you can really grow your audience that way, because people can rely on you, and they know if I wake up and open up my phone on this day, there will be a new episode. And that happened for over a year. Mm-hmm. Where I didn't miss a day, just bang 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 bang.
Oh wow.
But in saying that, it's very tiring, and it's a lot of pressure, and so you have to kind of really have the resolve to push yourself to stick to that schedule.
Sure, yeah, understandable. I think that's part of the reason I think it didn't go that way. I think I did at one point. I was kind of uploading it every Friday, but at the same time, I wanted to add music into my podcast, where I write parodies, or also like some original songs that I have, and upload it in form of an outro each episode. But I couldn't keep up with it, so I just decided whenever I feel like writing a song or recording it, I'll just put it up on the outro, and maybe create a SoundCloud account, and that's what I did now. So I have my music separated with my SoundCloud account and my podcast account, and just separated them in my website, and have those both links up and running. So it's been that's easier way to kind of deal with my situation. So, and other listeners out there too kind of explains where if they just want to listen to the song later, without having to go through my podcast and skipping until the end, then they can listen to just the songs itself when they need to. And going back to the scheduling, it's when I tried to do that, like it did have that little pressure, not little pressure, but let's see, this pressure that it's like I don't really want to do it today. It's like if I'm forcing it to do it today, it's not gonna sound good. It's not gonna sound the way I want to, and since it's not a scripted per se podcast, I won't be able to fake the way I would converse with people. And that being said, when I'm talking to somebody in a podcast, like the day of, and then I play with other people while in the Discord, I don't say anything at all, because I'm burned out from that few days of just talking and thinking of what I'm gonna say. It doesn't matter if it's not scripted or just having conversations. I mean, I would say stuff like random things that may be like unrelated questions that I could think of that moment, or if somebody was to say something smart or funny, I would just do like say a little bit of a comment here and there, but I don't go on full conversation with them whenever I'm playing with other people. And at the same time, I mostly raid when I'm in Discord, so I don't think a lot of people would kind of want to listen to what I'm gonna say if they're just focusing on raiding, and I didn't want to put that pressure on them too. But I'm sure that they would be fine with it if I would do something like that, because they probably listen to the podcast now and they probably appreciate it now. But at the same time, I'm burned out as well by doing the podcast the day before, or even the day a couple of days before that. I can't really say much, and I just want to play my game.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, that's the thing. That, funnily enough, a content creator's greatest enemy is the game that they're covering, because all they want to do is play the game. So it gets in the way of content creation. Mm-hmm. I definitely found that as soon as WoW Classic came out. Like, you just want to fall into the world. You want to just spend all your time there, and then it's like, fuck, I've got to find 10 hours to work on this podcast every week. That's 10 hours away from the game. It really adds up on you, and it's hard. It's really, really hard.
Mm-hmm. So, give us your process on how you actually initiate your every episode, from that beginning to I don't know. Just do you do a lot of research on? Like heavy research per se? You have to go through a lot of details and such, so you don't miss one thing out, to make sure that you're fully accurate in what you're trying to accomplish.
Well, the benefit of my show was that, when I first sat down and, I knew I wanted to podcast about WoW Classic and I was passionate about it, but, I was so hamstrung by the fact that I'm a scrub player. I don't know shit about this game. I'm a really, really, just average player when it comes to talking about it, when it comes to playing it. Like, I just couldn't sit down for hours and hours and hours and hours and tell you everything there is to know about World of Warcraft Classic. That was never my jam. But I loved hearing about it. And so I thought, how can I do this where, like, I'm okay at podcasting. I can do this. But, like, podcasts traditionally are just someone talking to you, by themselves for hours and hours and hours on end. And I knew I couldn't do that. So I thought, well, if I could just get guests to talk to who really knew the game well and have a conversation with them, I'm good at asking people questions. I can chat to people. That's fine. If listeners would be okay with the fact that the host didn't fucking know a thing about the game, but at least their guest did, maybe that would be all right. And luckily that's what happened. So, like, the research that I did, like, I still read, I read Reddit a lot. I read, I watch all the YouTube videos. I consume WoW Classic media, just as much, if not more so than anyone else. I don't necessarily learn anything from it, but at least I'm somewhat, I do take in a little bit, obviously, but, I'm not a big vanilla brain per se. So luckily, just in reading and surrounding myself around the player base as much as I have, you pick up enough to be able to ask the questions that get a conversation flowing. And I was just lucky enough that as the show grew and grew, when I was saying to people, call into the show, I want this to be like talkback radio. Eventually people took me up on that offer. And it's just an exponential effect when, like, it just takes that one person who says yes. And then after that, you get 2. Then you're getting 4. Then you're getting 8. Yeah. And it's just everyone kicking down my door going, hey, I want to be on your show. But it still took that first person to say yes, because people aren't sure about you. They're not, they don't know you. They don't know how it's going to go. Yeah. And then when they hear that it's fine, they think, what I love about, like, for example, your podcast or my podcast or whatever you do is if you do have guests on, it gives other people who would never make a fucking podcast in their lives the chance to be a part of it. And there are a lot of people out there like that. I truly, genuinely believe that are like, I'd love to be on a podcast, but, they either don't have the technical know-how or don't have the energy to get one started. But they're like, but I've got a microphone. I've got an hour or 2 to talk to this person. And then they get a kick out of being able to go home, download the episode and go, holy fuck, that's me. People are listening to me. It's kind of like, it's getting other people involved, getting the public involved, and bringing the podcast to them. That I think is a really, really cool thing to have, and that's what I always wanted to make a hook of mine. Is that it's not about me, it's about them. And I think that people really embrace that. So I look forward to doing that again, if Burning Crusade comes out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's insane, man, like the way you explained that. I never thought of it that way. Thinking about it now, that's pretty accurate, because you're right. It's when I started this game, when I started on my podcast, I wanted to interview players across my server, across Azeroth, and just give them the chance to talk and to explain. And I had actually one person, I didn't have him on, but he was asking, like, are you only gonna have, are you gonna pick the ones that wants to be in your podcast, or are you gonna do all of them? I'm like, well, it's a small server, man. And it's not like, there's a lot of people in here that are known as players. And I'm going to talk to everyone who signs up. I'm not going to pick and choose, because I'd be missing out on one person if they have interesting stuff to say in terms of their story, or like they would even talk about like real life situation where they're how they're doing this pandemic and crap like that. And I've had people would explain, oh, we're doing all right, we're doing good, and I'm like, okay, all right, that's good to know. I gotta have that mentality first. Sometimes if I'm trying to talk to the person, so I know exactly like if they're doing all right, there's no like pressure or in terms of asking them questions. I'd be way comfortable if they're doing okay, and then on the initial point of conversations, where if there's something wrong with them, maybe if there's something going on or whatnot, maybe we can reschedule, or maybe we can talk about something else or whatnot. But everybody has been kind of positive with this kind of thing that I'm kind of trying to do when this podcast came out. So that kind of put their mind into something else other than this whole pandemic going on. But yeah, how are you guys doing over there though? Like, is everything in lockdown like United States is, or is it completely different?
Australia's actually been doing really well, but again, I mean, keep in mind that we obviously have a relatively small population, but we've done really, really, really well. A lot of people basically did what we were told. We stayed inside. Our numbers are looking amazing, and now things are reopening. So whether or not we get a wave 2, we will see. But kind of our government came out recently and just said, "Look, well done, Australia. You've done really, really well. You did, above and beyond what we asked, and now our health system is in a really good place where it can, try to treat people if anything happens." So they've started reopening bars and pubs and businesses, and people can now visit each other socially again, albeit still capped. But they're slowly reopening things, so we're not still on lockdown.
Yeah, that's cool, man. It's I think it's the same here. We're kind of reopening up pretty soon. I think everything is still in. The majority of the restaurants are still in lockdowns, I think. Bars are still closed, I think. Otherwise, I mean, the whole thing has been kind of going pretty slow. We're just waiting on the second wave. We'll see what's gonna happen. Hopefully, they can actually know or maybe even create a vaccine, but I doubt that they'd be able to do that in maybe 6 months, maybe a year. Maybe it'll take a couple of years, But yeah, so you mentioned that you aren't doing the Classic to Countdown to Classic anymore.
That's right. Yeah,
so you're not doing that anymore. Okay. And your new podcast, you're still doing that, right? Are you doing the Josh gaming with Josh?
Yeah. So I still podcast. I just don't do Countdown to Classic. So I have always had like a couple of podcasts. Like I have a movie podcast called The Cinephiles, like spelled like Sinner, like SINNER. And that's about movies. And I do that with two guys that I work with, and we have a really good time. You know, I love movies, and we just talk about sort of old movies. And that's something I did the whole time through Countdown to Classic as well. And it's really good to have balance where you can actually sit down and talk about something else. But I mean, I love to publish podcasts. So, you know, I'm really, really proud of that one. It's funny because Countdown to Classic did so well. You know, Countdown to Classic the numbers were, I never could have come to believe it if you had told me before the show started. But it cracked like the top 2% of podcasts in the world or something. And I was like, holy shit. Yeah. But then it's funny. The only reason I say that is the other podcasts that I do, I feel is so much better than Countdown to Classic, but it got nowhere near the success that Countdown to Classic got. So it's just funny how, you know, your podcast is kind of dependent on what topic you pick and, you know, how it resonates with the crowd that it's about. So yeah, I still do the movie podcast. I still do, you know, the Josh Corbett podcast, which is just about games in general, which eventually, you know, if Burning Crusade gets announced, I will do a Burning Crusade featured series, and I'll just do it through my, you know, Josh Corbett podcast thing. But at the moment, I'm doing podcasts about like, I'm doing a mini series on Final Fantasy VII, which is like a 12-part, 12-hour breakdown of Final Fantasy VII. And people sort of think, oh, you know, how the fuck could you talk about Final Fantasy VII for 12 hours? We made it work. You know, I got a bunch of guests on, and these people were amazing and just really broke it's like, you know, it's like book club for games. If you read a book, go off to these book clubs, you talk about it for a couple of hours with strangers and say, what does the book mean to you? Or what does this character mean to you? And they get really, really detailed. These are hyper intelligent people telling you what, you know, things mean in the game to them personally. And I just always wanted to do something like that, and I got a really big kick out of it. It takes a lot of time to edit, and it's killing me. Like it's been a month since I released the last episode, but this is one where, like you said before, it's been really nice to not have a deadline. And I'm just like, well, when I can work on it and when it's ready, it's ready. It'll come out whenever. So there's no rush, and it's been really nice approaching a podcast like that.
Scheduling it's kind of crazy to me. I have this scheduling calendar for my website, but I don't really use it for scheduling. It's just I want to know who's the next guest is. So whenever I feel like talking, I would go into that calendar. I'm like, what's the date today? Okay, already talked to that guy. Okay, it's your turn. So I'm gonna message you in game. If you're not ready, then it's too bad. I'm gonna go to the other guest. So that's what I've been kind of doing, and it's been kind of working out. And luckily, I've been doing good on my part where I upload them. Usually, I upload them every week, but the last episode one, I had to record a song. It's about like it's a Hunter parody. The song is called Hunter Weapon, and I had to really polish that one pretty well. So it's gonna sound the way I want it to, and it took me at least like a week to finish it. So I didn't upload my episode for 2 weeks. I just uploaded it like last Tuesday or so. So this one I'm gonna probably gonna upload it before the ones that I've already done, because I've been kind of excited to talk to you, man. This is really
oh, thanks, man. No, it's been fun. It's been real fun. Like I said, it's one of those things where I got very lucky with the show, and I'm a really big proponent of WoW Classic podcasts. And whenever someone asks me to be on their podcast, I say yes, because nothing frustrated me more doing my show than trying to get people to say yes, and just going, you know, that was half my battle, was chasing guests and just convincing them, you know, please come on my show. Trust me, I'm not going to make a fool out of you. I'm, you know, it's going to be a fun conversation. It'll be engaging. People will love you. People will love the conversation. Trust me, trust me, trust me. And, you know, people, understandably, a lot of the times were like, you know, who are you? Who the fuck are you? What's your show? I don't even know what this is all about, blah, blah, blah. But you just get those first few yeses, and then everyone else starts to come along. So I've always been really supportive of just trying to help people out.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. I appreciate that you kind of have that thought, and it kind of encourages me to do more of this kind of stuff when you say things like that. Especially when the guest thing, I've always been afraid to engage myself of starting a conversation, especially out there in real life. I mean, I can do it 1-to-1, but if it starts on a group basis, you know, if I'm trying to explain something to a group of people, it would, you know, the pressure comes in, and, you know, I panic, and I say things that doesn't make any sense, and it's just part of the nervousness that I get. And part of this podcast thing is to get better at that, kind of apply it, maybe, you know, practice it on 1-to-1 first, and maybe I'll get used to it, and when I talk to a group of people, it will be the same thing. And it's been freaking working out, and it's pretty amazing how that works. Just practicing it, and
I mean, mate, I go back and you level up as a podcaster. You know what I mean? You really do. You get better. I mean, practice makes perfect. And I go back and listen to my, you know, I'm far from perfect now. I don't want to fucking make it sound like I think I'm the fucking lord of the podcast. I'm not.
Sure,
I've got a long way to go. But I go back and listen to my early episodes. I can't listen to them. I'm so embarrassed. Like I'm so bad.
Yeah.
And people message me now and go, "Oh, mate, I'm going back and listening to old episodes of your show. You know, I like them." And I'm like, "No, stop listening. I'm so shit in them."
Yeah.
But you know, it's nice to hear, you know, how far you've come, and then as you get better, then you do get the confidence to ask, you know, different kinds of guests on the show. Like, you know, I was, not that they said yes, but as you say, like, the fucking worst thing people can do is say no. I was, you know, getting in contact with like big celebrities, agents and stuff, and going, fuck it, I'm just going to ask. Like, fucking, hey, does Vin Diesel want to come on my show? I'm emailing his fucking talent agent. And, you know, heaps of people like that. And, you know, a lot of them say no. I never wound up, I don't think I ever got a huge celebrity on this show.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, I got some big ones from the gaming world, but no one from like movies or anything like that. But, you know, you can just ask. And because a lot of the gaming personalities I asked, I thought, oh, there's no fucking way they'll say yes. They did in the end. So it was great.
Yeah, that's pretty insane, man. I mean, when I asked you and you said, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to ask. But at the same time, I was like, he's never going to freaking agree to this. And then you said yes. I'm like, what? I'm like, really? That's pretty sweet, man. So it's like, honestly, I was freaking out when you agreed to that. And I was like, how are we gonna do the time since you're in before I knew that you were in Australia. When I didn't connect to it, that from what I'm heard from your podcast and your introduction, and I can't sometimes I can't tell the difference of accents between Australians and English. So it's
so good. I get it.
It kind of messes with me. I think being a minor myself, I think it has something to do with that. The ring of the tone that we list that I hear is kind of has similarities to any other accents out there. I mean, if you ask other people, and because I'm a Filipino, lived in Philippines for 15 years. If you ask the majority of people there, you know, is there a difference between this guy's accent and this guy's accent, and they'd be like, no.
My fiance is Filipino, so I'm very familiar with the culture.
Oh, cool, man. Have you been to Philippines?
I haven't been. No, we're going to go at some stage, but just haven't been yet. It's funny, you might get a laugh out of this. I mean, just this morning she was like, "Oh, I want breakfast," and I made her like spam on rice with like a fried egg, and she freaked out. She's like, "Oh, it's the best like Filipino breakfast ever."
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. It's more like noodles. Have you ever made her noodles for breakfast?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's a thing too. I'm not sure if that's a different region in Philippines, but that's my thing. It's called, I don't know. Have you ever heard of pancit canton? It's like this.
I feel like I have.
It's noodles with like you take the broth out, so it's basically like lo mein.
Right. Yep.
So one of those. If you made her one of those, like.
I'll have to do that.
She's gonna wonder. She's gonna wonder, like, how the hell do you know?
I'll check it out for sure then.
Yeah. I can message you the details.
Send me the recipe and I'll get on.
Yeah, definitely. Are you? Do you like cooking?
I don't like it. I can kind of do it. I'm very slow. Like, if a recipe says this will take half an hour to make, it'll take me an hour and 10.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting, man. That's another thing that we have in common with, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Thanks for that. This episode is gonna make my freaking day. It's pretty amazing.
No, it's been a pleasure, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah. So, before we call it, do you have anything you want to shout out, or do you want to say something before we depart?
I just shout out to my guild that I mentioned during the podcast. The guild's called Countdown. They're on Earth Fury. They're just an amazing bunch of people, and I've heard a lot of them say this, and I kind of mirror their feelings. I truly believe that WoW Classic would not be the same without them. I would not be having as much fun as I am. I know this for certain. I wouldn't enjoy the game as much as I do if it wasn't being played with them. It's an impeccably well-run guild, great officers, great GM, and just great people. And so shout out to them. I love you all, and I can't wait to rage with you all. And hopefully that's going to happen soon.
Yeah, that's a pretty bold statement then. So they're going to appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. So, I'll talk back with you on just messaging then. And I think I'm going to... Yeah, I'll link you the website again, and I'll link you the episode when it's done.
No worries. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah, so, really thanks for doing this again, man. Like, I really, really appreciate it.
All good, mate.
Yeah, you have a good Sunday.